So if you're looking for a super easy Italian pasta dish for the summer, you've come to the right place. You know, when it's hot outside, you need a pasta dish that has simplicity sort of baked into the recipe. And what do I mean by simplicity? I mean the least amount of ingredients possible, which also makes it super easy. And the other thing that you need to keep in mind is super fresh ingredients, you know, whatever is in season for the summer. So what I'm going to cook for lunch today is called spaghetti ai pomodorini. And what is that? Well, that's basically spaghetti with cherry tomatoes. Let me share with you what I've prepped here on my little prepping board. Only three ingredients, three basic ingredients here. We've got some garlic, we've got some cherry tomatoes, which are super in season, delicious, sweet cherry tomatoes. I've already chopped them up. If they're too large, chop them into thirds. If they're small, you can just split them in half. And of course, some basil here. So without further ado, let's get started with this recipe. Now, as you can see here, I've got a pot of boiling water, and I'm gonna pour my Sardinian salt into this, which I love Sardinian salt because it's super strong and flavorful. Okay, and I've already prepped everything. I'm gonna be tossing in my Molisana pasta, which is the spaghetto quadrato chitarra. Then in a pan, you put some extra virgin olive oil. I love olive oil from Sicily in particular, so that's what's in this pan. I put a couple of cloves of garlic. It's really up to you how much you want to use. I like a lot of garlic, so I tend to do a little bit more, but you could just as easily get away with just one. And as you can see here, I've got it on super low heat here, okay? Because we want to sort of create the aroma of the garlic before we go to the next step. So now you can see here I've got the cherry tomatoes in the pan. We've got the heat up to medium at this point to sort of get the cherry tomatoes to melt and cook in that extra virgin olive oil. At this point, I'm gonna throw in just a little sort of pinch of salt, maybe another one, okay? And we're gonna cook this for about, I'd say about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm going to turn this off while the pasta is finishing up. So now that I'm getting at the end of cooking my little sauce here with the cherry tomatoes, what I like to do is I lower the heat a little bit and I start to squeeze the cherry tomatoes a little bit to get some of the juice to come out. Just a little bit, nothing too crazy. But I like to go around and let the juice come out and sort of mix in with the salt, the garlic, and the olive oil. It's just a little thing that I like to do. Okay. And now I'm just going to go in and take a little smell. That's my way of testing the sauce. Let's smell the aromas. Oh yeah, it's delicious. It's delicious. Okay, so now the sauce is ready and the pasta is ready. I just turned the flame back on low for the sauce. And I'm literally just gonna start tossing in my pasta into the pan with the cherry tomatoes, the extra virgin olive oil, and garlic. Notice how there's no basil in here yet. That's coming at the very end. Okay, what I like to do is a nice little mix. So while it's still cooking, you know, by the way, I love my pasta al dente, so I took it out 30 seconds earlier. The cooking time for al dente is 13 minutes for this particular pasta, and I'm just gonna keep tossing in my pasta here layer by layer so that the pasta starts to absorb the juices. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, now what I'm gonna do here is toss in my fresh basil. The next thing I'm gonna do, of course, is put some Parmigiano Reggiano in here. Just gonna sprinkle a little bit on top here. Okay, so here's the final dish right here, spaghetti ai pomodorini. I put another piece of fresh basil on top here, as you can see. Let's go in for a little taste, shall we? still smoking. It smells amazing. The cheese, the basil, the tomato, the fresh cherry tomatoes. Oh my God. I'm not in Italy, but this is as close as it's gonna get. Amazing. Delicious, simple, 3 ingredients, fresh ingredients. This is one of my favorite summer pasta dishes. Now, what is so cool about this particular pasta dish is that there are 3 completely different wines that will pair very nicely with this. One is a white wine, the other is a rosé, and then the third one is a red. So how many pasta dishes can you think of where you can literally pair 3 different types of wines like that? Let me give you some recommendations. So if you're in the mood for a chilled white wine, I would definitely go with a Trebbiano d'Abruzzo. It's a simple, classic wine from South Italy in the Abruzzo region. I absolutely love this producer. This is Emilio Rapino. He's based in Francavilla al Mare, which is literally on the Adriatic coast. He has this amazing vineyard where just east of the vineyard, you see this gorgeous view of the Adriatic Sea. And then when you look west, right behind it is the Apennine Mountains. So it's a really, really unique landscape, and of course, a unique wine comes from it. This is a small artisanal producer. He makes 6,000 bottles a year of this by hand. All the grapes are hand selected so that only the highest quality grapes are used for winemaking. This would go beautifully with this. It's 12% alcohol, so it's light, it's smooth. If you just want to have a glass for lunch and not get too tipsy, this is a good route to take. If you're in the mood for a rosé from the same winery, Emilio Rapino, he produces this amazing rosé, which is called Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo. And Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo is actually an appellation. This is a DOC rosé. They have a very, very long history in the region of making rosé wines, even though I'd say they're not as, this particular type of rosé is not as famous as some of the Provence rosés in France or some of these trendy California rosés that are coming out every year. But this is a traditional Italian rosé. I'd say Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo is one of the best rosés that you can find in Italy. This is, again, a small production, 6,000 bottles a year, produced by hand. They use Montepulciano grapes to make this rosé. All they do is let the juice sit on the skins for 12 hours to get this color. So don't judge a rosé by its color. Basically, you'll notice here that it's a little bit darker than some of maybe the rosés you're used to seeing in the stores. And that's because it's made with the Montepulciano grape skins, which are very dark. This is not a sweet wine whatsoever. This is actually dry, crisp. It's got nice body, floral notes, cherry notes, and sort of this finish is almost like reminiscent of a cocktail. It's a really cool wine, and it'll pair beautifully with this dish. And finally, if you're strictly a red wine drinker or you're just in the mood for a red wine, you gotta pick a red wine that is simple and that has lower alcohol. So I'm gonna recommend here a wine from the Piemonte region. This is made with 100% Dolcetto, which is a native grape from the Piemonte region. This is this is the people's wine of Piemonte. This is what the people locally drink in northwestern Italy on a daily basis. Dolcetto is a very simple wine. This particular bottle is 12.5% alcohol, so it's gonna pair beautifully with this. This comes from the Battaglio Small Estate Winery in Vezza d'Alba in northwestern Italy in the Piemonte region. Gianluca Battaglio is the owner and winemaker, and he makes 3,000 bottles, just 3,000 bottles a year by hand. It's only the highest quality Dolcetto grapes. He picks the grapes himself personally. It's a serious wine, and I cannot believe the shelf price on this. It's only $19. Same thing with all the others. So if you want to pick up any of these wines, I'm going to leave some links in the description below where you can find and purchase these wines, and I might even leave you a little secret link where you can get a special price. So that's it for this summer pasta recipe and wine pairing. Until next time, I'm Tony Margiotta. Make sure you subscribe to Gladiator Wine TV so you don't miss out on any other videos about Italian wine and much, much more. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.